Yeah, man. This is an astral projection story about the first time I had astral sex, or I tried to have astral sex. So, what happened was I was in a dream. I was in a block of flats in some estate, and there's some stuff going on. But at the time, the girl that I was going out with, she was in the dream. So some weird thing happened where I must have went in the room with a different girl, and then she must have walked past the room and looked in there, and I see her and she looked at me. So obviously it was awkward, isn't it? So looking at her thinking, damn, like she's caught me. And then she's walked off and like she's gone in the room with some next guy, like, so she's gonna do a thing. So I've walked out the room now, and then the next girl turned up and it was her again. So this kind of made me realize that this was a dream, because it didn't make any sense. Do you know what I mean? So as soon as I realized it's a dream, the girl that looked like my ex changed into another girlfriend, like face wise. That's what happens in dreams, like the faces will just change. So it's changed into some next chick. So now we're in some room in the flats, and I thought to myself, okay, there's a bed there. And I was thinking, oh shit, I might as well try to have sex with this girl, because I've never had astral sex in it, and I've read up about it. So I thought, okay, let me try to have sex with this chick. So I said, I'll come here. And I said, okay, get on the bed. Like, I'm just directing this girl, get on the bed, bend over, and take off your trousers, innit? So she goes, I think I pulled off her trousers actually. So she bends over, yeah, and I pull off her trousers, and I pull off her underwear. And then there's like a shit stain in her arse, bro. It's so crazy. Like, there's a shit stain in her arse. As soon as I see that just turned me off completely. I was like, nah, I'm good. Do you know what I mean? So I turned away and I walk out the room. And I'm in this flat and there's a bunch of people in there. And they're just, just some shady looking people. Because like in the other stories, I said that I always end up in these shady looking places, man, with just some weird shit. So I walk out, come out the flat, come out the door. I walk out now, going down the stairs, and like there's a bunch of kids, like school kids, coming towards me, running up the stairs, and I'm walking down, and they're just making up pure noise. I'm walking down now, and the funny thing, because this experience is very short, so what happened was, like, they're coming down the stairs and they're singing. I don't know, I was really happy for some reason. I remember I was really happy just to be, I like having an astral projection in it, so I was singing. And it was like, when I was singing now, it was like, it was really like, it was just lifting up my vibrations. I could feel it. It was so weird. It was really like lifting up my vibration while I was singing. I was really, really happy. Like, I was singing and running down the stairs. And then I must have shifted out of the dream. So then the whole experience ended, and it's just all gone black. So I'm back laying in my bed, and my eyes are closed in it, so it's just black. So I thought, let me just try to get back into our next scenario. So I started imagining that I was back there. I was imagining I was back there. And the next minute I'm back there, and I'm back in, but I'm outside of the block. So I'm outside of the block, and I'm looking, and then there's this dog there, but it's like a cartoon dog, but it's in 3D. So imagine like a cartoon dog in real life. It's like that. And it was a dog from Inspector Gadget, which is so funny. Do you know what I mean? It was a dog from Inspector Gadget, but it's in 3D, like proper, like lifelike looking. Do you know what I mean? It was weird. And then it just ended again. So it was a really, really short experience. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, that's the first time I was able to really come out of a projection and be able to put myself back into one. Do you know what I mean? Like, I haven't been able to do that ever since, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? It's not easy to do, especially when you're living in a house with people, and you can, as soon as you kind of wake up, you can hear things going on around you, or people are up, and do you know what I mean? But that's the first time I was able to do that. That was quite cool, but very, very short. Like, not every experience is long, man. Do you know what I mean? Especially with astral projection, like, you can have experience and it lasts about bloody 30 seconds. That's why I used to get very frustrated at times, because you can spend time really getting somewhere and then it can just end, or your partner can come and bang something or knock something or wake up, do you know what I mean, and just knock you out of your experience. Do you know what I mean? Unless you're really, really deep into it.
I think when it comes to astral projection, also it comes down to energy as well. It also comes down to having energy, because I remember a next experience where I realized I was in a dream, and I started pulling my more awareness into it. Because when you're in a projection, when you're in a dream, you're doing something subconsciously. You're not in control of your actions. It's like you're observing yourself doing things. You do things you would never do in real life, because you're just acting out something. Your subconscious is making you act out things. As soon as you clock that something's going on, like something that don't make no sense, because usually in a dream you make excuses for things that don't make sense. You say, oh, it's because of this, it's because of that. You know what I mean? That your reasoning don't really come to it. When you realize that something's up and you pull more reasoning into it, that's when you come more of yourself. That's when you push your conscious mind, you pull your conscious mind into your subconscious mind. Do you know what I mean? So you're acting out stuff in your subconscious mind. You pull your conscious mind into your subconscious mind, because your conscious mind is you, basically. It's all of your habits, the way you think, and all these different things, and you pull it in. And then people say you stare at your hands to kind of ground yourself within that reality. When you ground it, it becomes lifelike, because before that you don't really feel things unless you have kind of a very much a lot, like a proper connection with your energy body. You won't feel things. That's what people don't really realize are dreams. You're just going through things, but you don't feel things, you don't smell things, you don't taste things. It's when you actually connect with your energy body, that's when you can do stuff like that. So when you're in there, you'll pull your energy. When you look at your hand, you'll pull more of your conscious awareness into it until you know this is a dream, and you know that you're laying in your bed. You know you're laying in your body's laying in your bed, but you're somewhere else. You're in another dimension, having an experience. Do you know what I mean? And basically, one time I pulled myself into a dream. Like I pulled my subconscious, but my conscious mind into a dream and come completely aware. And I was in some store somewhere, and I was trying to move around, and next minute I just collapsed. Like I collapsed on the floor and I couldn't move. I had no energy. And the whole experience ended, because it's weird. There's something else going on that you don't really know about as a human being, that's controlling how much energy you have and how many experiences you can have in this reality, because you need extra energy to experience things. Like I've read loads of books and different things, and one explanation was given, like there's one guy called Carlos Castaneda, and he had this book about Don Juan. He was like a sorceress. He was a sorceress. Like he was like he used to do sorcery, basically. Like he's a shaman. So he said that people that they used to, at first they used to learn how to get like what you could call that kind of tricks and magic and all these kind of things, all these special abilities. They used to do it through astral travel, or what's it called again? Lucid dreaming. Do you know what I mean? So there's a book called The Art of Dreaming. So they learn at the art of dreaming. So they'll pull this up. They'll get mastery of like learning how to wake themselves up in dreams, and then getting more and more awareness into it and getting more comfortable with it, and then they'll start being able to venture out. Because once you're on the other side, because a dream is the other side, basically the veil of this reality and the next reality, the dream is the other side. The little hypnagogic stages is the in-between stage between it. So once you cross that line, you can do all kinds of stuff, but it's not easy, because if you get too excited when you're on the other side, you will pull yourself out of it. You've got to have real level emotions on it. You can have a lot of happiness, but not too much excitement. There's a difference between it. If you get too excited, too angry, too whatever, you will pull yourself out of it, because it's a subtle reality, innit? It's subtle. So them emotions are too much for that reality. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you have to learn how to just be, when you get used to it, you can't be too scared, you pull yourself out of it. So all these different things, once you get used to it and you're comfortable with it, you just know how to just balance yourself, and you stay in it for longer. Do you know what I mean? And the more comfortable you come with that side, the more you will remember things as well. Do you know what I mean? So you will learn how to use that side, and then you can shift to all these different dimensions, because there's different layers. So you have a dream layer, which is kind of like, it's like letting your kid play out in your back garden, basically. Like it's outside, but it's not outside where you can get run over by a road or some random weird man can come and take your kid. That's what your higher self lets you do. It lets you kind of go out into the dream and experience it, and you usually won't really come across things like other elements, because there's elements out there that can kind of harm you, you know, when it comes to astral travel. But you've got to kind of have a mastery, and you kind of got to get to a certain level. When it comes to this lucid dreaming, more time you won't come across anything that will do you any harm. Do you know what I mean? You might see scary things, but that's kind of sometimes what you've been thinking about is stuff that's kind of in your mind. Do you know what I mean? But once you learn how to kind of do things, you can shift out, and there's so many different elements. Because this universe is a predatory universe, isn't it? So there's a lot of elements that want your energy as a human being. So you can come across just different things, and that's the thing. So once you get used to it, you can learn how to shift from a dream reality to a proper astral plane. That might be someone else's creation, or astral plane where maybe people that have died have passed on, and that's where they are for a while, just going through a process of just going through what they're going through. I haven't really experienced that stuff, I'm gonna be real with you. Do you know what I mean? I just experienced a lot of dream realities in different places, like random places that you just can't really pinpoint where it is and what it's about, because it's not, you can't reference point it to this reality, so you can't really say where it is and what. Do you know what I mean? It's weird. You just know that this is not, it's just a different experience. Do you know what I mean? That's all you know, but you just don't know in what relation to what it is. You gotta do it a lot of times to start being able to map out the other side, where you have kind of an understanding of, oh, this is that, this is this, this is that. Do you know what I'm saying? But you can, yeah, man, you can get yourself into trouble, do you know what I mean, doing this kind of stuff. But it's not easy. Like you either got to be very unlucky, or you know what I mean, or you're just very used to things and you keep venturing out further and further and further. Because I'm very sure, like, if you're able to really venture out far and do certain things that not a lot of people can do, you can kind of end your life doing that stuff, man. Do you know what I mean? You can kind of end your life, like you can end your whole existence by making a mistake, mate. You can end up in a place where you can erase your whole being, like. But that's not an easy thing to do, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not something that an average person can do. Do you know what I mean? But you can just let in the wrong entities into you. Like, you can do some stuff, man. It's not easy, but it can happen, man. Do you know what I mean? And that's why, like, back in the days, I think, with witches and people that used to do sorcery, they used to have contacts on the other side. And once they made contacts on the other side, they could find out information about people, because them things on the other side have kind of access to this whole reality that we live in. Do you know what I mean? So if they'll just know where people are, just, do you know what I mean, they'll think, oh, where's this person? And this voice that is beyond us, that can, do you know what I mean, it's just on another dimension, which you can access more information than us, because we're stuck in this dimension, and the only information that we can access is through our 5 senses. But that being can float between different dimensions and can do different things that you can't even imagine you can do. That thing could be telling you stuff, could be feeding you information. Like I've actually had conversations with my higher self. Do you know what I mean? Which is mad. Do you know what I mean? But that being is not gonna really give you any fucked up information, or not really going to do anything that jeopardizes you, because it's always looking for I mean, it's always trying to benefit you. Do you know what I mean? Because you are it and it is you. Do you know what I mean? But when you're dealing with something that's outside of yourself, that's a bit malicious, it could be feeding you fucked up information, or it could be an ally with you. Do you know what I mean? Because you want the same thing. You're giving it a bit more life, because you're communicating with it and making its life a bit more, do you know what I mean? Giving it a different vibe to it, basically, and it's giving more power to you. So you're giving it power, and it's giving power to you, because it's giving you another element to you. It's giving you an all-seeing eye, basically, where you can just ask it questions and it communicates through your mind. So you know what I mean? So you can be, that's why I think witches back in the day, when people used to come for them, and very sort of like low, there's the most people that got killed when they're doing witch hunting weren't fucking witches, mate. Because I know when someone comes for me, yeah, I know if you're thinking bad thoughts about me, yeah, I have this thing where I just know that you're doing it. Do you know what I mean? Back in the day when police used to come for me, I used to know when they're coming for me. If you're smoking, when they used to smoke weed, it was different because it clouds your mind, didn't it? But when I was clear and I stopped all that shit, mate, they weren't bagging me for shit. Do you know what I mean? Because I just knew when you had bad intentions for me, I just knew what you was gonna do. It's so many times I've been through situations, people try to set me up or try to. I just knew what people were doing. Do you know what I mean? So I could imagine a witch that has a even way more deeper connection than me, because they are detached in it. They don't hang around other people. They hang around people like them that have the same kind of mindset as them, and they're just on their own. They're detached from people. Look at their own, let them away. They're in their own world. So they're very much within themselves. So they're able to get so much more information because they haven't got other things, other people's thoughts, other people's opinions pulling at their mind, pulling it away from itself. Do you know what I mean? The mind is funny. The more attention you give to the outside, the less you're gonna hear the inner voice. You know? So that's how it works. So I feel like witches, because they're so secluded and by themselves, and because they had stuff that's passed on from generation to generation to generation, they have information that more people didn't have, and they can fuck with people, especially back in the days, because the more you believe in something, the more it opens your mind up to actually be able to be influenced or be affected by it. So if you believe in witchcraft, it's gonna have way more effect on you than somebody who doesn't believe in it. Unless you're fucking with someone that has a lot of power, which you don't really come across these days. But back in the days, they mostly did have people that really could do a lot of damage through that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? But that's the thing. So once your mind is more open to it, that's what leaves you able to get affected by it more. So them witches, man, all that stuff, like there's a lot of stuff you can do with this kind of astral projection. But there's not a lot of people around to really teach you that stuff. Because most people are all just about money. Everyone's just really worldly. Everyone just it's always exchange for money. It's always exchange for fame, or just an ego thing. But when you come across someone that really teach you, that wants you to make him out to be someone that's bigger than you, or you just call me Swami G or whatever little nonsense name to come out with, and trying to put yourself on a pedestal, someone that just doesn't care about this reality, because they know it's just all a bunch of bullshit. It's another like a dream reality, but it just cause and effect. You're stuck in this body that grounds you into this reality. But once you know how to kind of move away from it and detach from it and experience so many different realities, this reality becomes just the next one out of many that you know. So you ain't gonna have that attachment to it that someone else is trying to make a big deal out of things and want to be called this and that and this. That's how you gotta look at certain people and know that certain people are not real like that, because they're just way too attached to all of these titles and all this nonsense that they come out with. Do you know what I mean? They just want you to follow them just for the sake of making them feel important, you know? But I'm going off topic. But yeah, man, I'll carry this conversation the next time.